Hello, good morning. Welcome to Basement Chronicles. My name is Lisa Dublin. Do you know what happened 6 years ago today? On January 26, 2020, the world lost a champion. Today is actually the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death. He passed away in a freak helicopter accident where he died as well as his daughter and some other people. He was on his way to coach his daughter's basketball match and he never made it. Or was it basketball? I'm not sure. But why am I bringing this up today except to commemorate and to just observe the fact that this guy was a champion? This guy knew about winning, about losing, and the ethic. He's called the Black Mamba for a reason. But there are certain qualities in him that I've come across in a book called Relentless by his coach, Tim Grover, that I want to talk about today. So hang in there. Text a friend, tell them Basement Chronicles Live is on. And this is actually my third week being on. I'm going to be going live on a Monday morning to really give you that espresso shot, that inspiration for the week, because we're going to be discussing things from a framework that I have determined is called the 4D life. Where if you want to win at life, when I really look back at what has propelled me, what propels the people I coach and the winners who I meet every day, I realize there are four things in life. And it really is desire, it is design, it is discipline, and it is determination. And of course, Kobe Bryant is a great example of all of these four things. However, the question for today, you guys, is this, okay? Are you a cooler, a closer, or a cleaner? What exactly am I talking about? Let's find out. And I want you to know I've been thinking about this topic, like, the last couple of days getting ready for this. Like, this is not just about a male or female thing. This is about a winning or losing thing. Because a lot of the women I coach and I teach and that kind of thing, they are literally cleaners. And I want to prove that to you. So, what I would love for you to be doing as I speak is to be able to take this information and do some kind of self reflection. Where do you find yourself? Who are you being? Some of you will recognize, oh, that's why I'm different from everybody else. Oh, that's what's going on with me. By the way, if you are watching and you might see a code on the screen, this is for my speakers right here. Let me see if I can do this. Is that funny? This, if you scan this code, if you just put your phone over it, if you're watching me on your computer, this will take you to the Speak with Confidence group page. So we're starting February 10th and 11th, and I'd love for you to join me in this program. It's a life-changing program. It's a program that teaches you how to have overall confidence, number one, but secondly, the art and science of speaking, because speaking open doors for you. That ability to communicate makes you able to do things like this without waiting for permission. Like, who said you need to have permission to put on your camera and address the people? Okay. And we teach you to have that boldness and that courage and to be able to share something that is impactful because it is first impactful for you, which is why the program is called How to Speak with Confidence and Authenticity, because we don't do fluff, we don't do fake, we don't do not here. Go next program, not this one. This is for the authentic people who believe in what they have to say. They might not say it perfectly, but that's okay. They understand that it is the humanity within them that actually leaps out and speaks to other people based on the message. But let's get into this book. So if you are listening and you're wondering what book, it is by Tim Grover. And there are two of his books. I'm actually reading the second one right now. So I first read Relentless by Tim Grover is his name. And he has another book called Winning. He happens to be Michael Jordan's coach, or he was, and he was also Kobe Bryant's coach, Dwayne Wade's coach. So these are famous basketballers. If you're watching and you don't know who I'm talking about, like, who doesn't know who Michael Jordan is? Like, really? But anywho, let's get started. He makes the distinction between three kinds of winners. It's not even loser to winner, you guys. Okay. This is top tier kind of. This is who you are, and this is the kind of rare winner that we don't see very often. Of course, Michael Jordan is a cleaner. Of course, Kobe Bryant is, even Dwayne Wade is. And I thought I would introduce the topic by taking summaries from some of his chapters and asking you to kind of figure out, who are you? So he says, you are a cleaner when you keep pushing yourself harder when everyone else has had enough. You are a cleaner when you get into the zone, shut out everything else, and control the uncontrollable. Are you hearing yourself yet? For the longest while, I think, especially for women who are supposed to be demure and, just not as strong. And for me, it has never been my definition. So I can tell you, like, sometimes when I hear people speak about, um, when especially when men speak about marriage, I don't see myself there. Like, no, somebody needs to speak up for the cleaners, for somebody needs to speak up for the female cleaners as well, because it's not a male trait, it's just a way of being and seeing life. So let's get into it, and I want you to rate yourself. Are you a cleaner? Are you a cooler, a closer, or a cleaner? Here's the first one. He says that first chapter in his book. Can you hear me? Okay, I hope everybody can hear me, and I'm doing fine. Say hi. Let me know where you are joining from. It would be nice. When you are a cleaner, you know exactly who you are, and a cooler thinks about what he's supposed to think about. So he's making the distinction now. Okay, are you ready? A cooler thinks about what he's supposed to think about. A closer thinks, analyzes, and eventually acts. A cleaner doesn't think at all. He just knows, and he just goes in, just goes in to do what he has to do. Do you know anybody like that? In the book, as I said, what's in the book Relentless by Tim Grover, he says most of the presidents of the United States have been cleaners. And he says you better be a cleaner if you want to be reelected. Now, I'm not going to discuss politics on this show, but cast your mind back to what you know about the presidents who have been reelected or gone up for reelection and been reelected or not. And you might see strains of what I'm talking about. So here's another one. And I see this all the time, and it's very amazing in coaching. Coaching is not about what it's supposed to be. Coaching is about you bring who you are, and we are going to deal with it and get out of that raw material of your true self what you want. So here's this one. When you are a cleaner, remember we have the cooler, the closer, and the cleaner. And Tim Grover says, when you are a cleaner, you have a dark side that refuses to be taught to be good. Oh my God. Where are all the people who are being told about the norms and mores of society and what you're supposed to be? And when you really look at this, just take a look at your thoughts, take a look at yourself. You're like, who is this? But there's a dark side to everybody. No matter who you are, there is a dark side. So here's what happens when you recognize the dark side. A cooler tries to fight his dark side and loses. A closer acknowledges his dark side but isn't able to control it. A cleaner, that person who understands this is me. I can be both dove and serpent. I can be both eagle and, I don't know, sheep. When you recognize that in yourself, the cleaner harnesses his dark or her dark side into raw, controlled power. So, in other words, you harness who you know you are and you direct it to winning. Is that you? Maybe you've been doing life wrong. Like, what I mean by that is most people are coolers. Most people, you'll find a set who are also the closers. But if you find yourself like the person who's always thinking differently or getting different results, better results than others around you, if your mindset never fits in with the crowds that you're in the wrong place. I can tell you, however, and most especially women who are cleaners, women who are great, go for the jugular, they are super powerful. Many times they think that they are alone. And one of my like aims for this year is to bring those kinds of women together, because yes, there are more like you. You are not an anomaly. You might be rare, but there are more like you. You might be in the top 1% of the personality, the drivers, the pilots, the D. If you're doing the disc assessment, you're a high D. No, you're a high D. Not many women are there, but there are a couple, and I coach them all the time, and I always say that to them. There are more like you. You just need to find the right circles where people are so consumed with their winning and themselves and all of those things that it's comfortable for you, because you are not under the microscopic view of people who are small minded. That's just life, right? Anyway, so here's the thing. On that note about fighting the dark side, you're not intimidated by pressure. A cooler is never in a situation where he has to be clutch. A closer is clutch in high pressure situations. A cleaner is always clutch, always ready, always ring, always ready to go. Closers are called closers for a reason. And you might think that's great, that's good. These are the managers, right? These are not the visionaries. And that's okay, because everybody needs to have a place and know their role for things to work, right? Closers are called closers for a reason. They show up at the end. They can deliver in a pressure situation because they step up when something is on the line. You feel that's good, right? For cleaners, every moment is a pressure situation and everything is always on. Seems like it's muted. It was. Okay, I hope you can hear me still. Let me know. Here's the thing. I remember going to a basketball match when my sons were younger, and there was definitely a cleaner on that squad. And I remember a kid saying, "What is wrong with him? He's giving so much, and it doesn't require all of that effort from him." Like the guy was giving 110%, and almost not being at that age, they were younger, not being able to control the energy, so that he would burn out before the end of the game because he was giving so much without pacing himself. But he was just that person. Every situation, every match, every shot, high pressure situation. Who are you being? Are you the cooler, the closer, or the cleaner? Are you that person? By any means necessary, I'm going to win. But let's move on. When so this is another situation. When you are the cleaner, everyone is hitting the in case of emergency button. They will be looking for you. They know that you will have a level head under pressure. You are the one who's called in when it is at like 0 hour. You are the one that people will turn to, male or female. It doesn't even matter. It's an attitude. It's a go-getter attitude. It's a way of seeing the world, that I can handle this and I can help people around me to do the same, right? So at the end, sorry, where am I? A cooler waits for you to tell him the plan. A closer works on the plan, studies it, memorizes it, and knows exactly what he has to do. A cleaner does not want a specific plan. He wants every possible option available to him at all times. So, like I like to read a lot of basketball stories because of my sons and so on. And that tells you there's the difference between somebody like Shaq and Kobe, because I could see Shaq definitely being a closer, like that middle kind of person. You'd bring him in, yes, but the cleaner is like, nah, I don't even need to know what the plan is. Just give me the ball. I'll do what I have to do. And that does not fly in the face of a team, right? Like you have to have, I think, visionaries, and you have to have that killer instinct, but you also need people who are able to fit into the ethos of the team. That's very important as well. So let's move on. When you are a cleaner, which is the highest form, according to Tim Grover, it's the rarest kind of winner. You don't, now, are you ready for this one? I have to give a little caveat about this one, okay? When you are a cleaner, you don't compete with anyone. What do you think the next piece would be? The next piece will tell you where you are. When you are a cleaner, you don't compete with anyone. Most likely, the thing that would provide a lot of consensus would be to say, you don't compete with anyone. You compete with yourself. Were you thinking that? Like, I was too. Okay. I have to admit, I was too. Call me closer, maybe. I think I'm a cleaner in some areas and a closer in others, right? But here's the thing, that is not what Tim Grover is saying. Are you ready for this? It's very dark. He says, when you are a cleaner, you don't compete with anyone. You find your opponent's weakness and you attack. Did you hear that? Oh. So, you don't compete with anyone. You find your opponent's weakness and you attack. I feel like that part of this came from the 48 Laws of Power. Part of this came from The Art of War by I forgot his name. I always have trouble pronouncing this Chinese person's name, right? But it's very true. When you are a cleaner, you don't compete with anyone. You find your opponent's weakness and you attack. A cooler does a good job and he waits for a pat on the back. A closer does a good job and pats himself on the back. What does a cleaner do? A cleaner just does a good job. That's his job. The, what else do you think was supposed to happen? And I've seen it happen even with a lot of high performing women, a lot of high performing athletes, elite athletes, that when they are cleaners, there's hardly time to sit back and enjoy the spoils, enjoy the feeling of winning, because they are always hungry for the next thing. It's like, yeah, that this is normal for me. Let's move on. And so they always say, like, even after every match, you'd find Kobe Bryant back on the court, going over the tapes and going over his mistakes, correcting things, getting ready for the next rush, the next win. When you are a cleaner, so a cleaner does a good job. That's his job. A cleaner, there's no such thing as a meaningless game. And they're talking games here. That's Tim Grover. But think about life. Think about your job. Think about your career. Think about how you are on the project, how you approach, like, even team endeavors and events. That mindset, it separates you. And many times I've found cleaners, they get very irritated by people who don't take themselves seriously. Again, the whole Kobe and Shaq dynamic, very irritated by it. Like, why aren't you taking yourself seriously? Anywho, one time, again, basketball stories. My sons lost a game, and very upset. One of them was after the match because one guy was, well, it's okay. We almost beat the best team in the province, and he was so annoyed. Like, what do you mean? So that's enough for you? Oh, I just like, oh my God, who have I raised? He's like, is that so? That's enough for him. It's enough for him to lose to the best team, and that's enough. And you talking as if that kind of attitude tells you who somebody is. So check yourself. Where are you? Are you the person who's like, well, E for effort, it's okay if we tried. I what do you mean it's okay if you tried? What's the point? Can you go further? What's the end goal here? And on that note, earlier on, we spoke about the cleaner knows himself or herself. One of the things that I do with my high performing cleaner clients is to help them to be comfortable with being cleaners, help them to be comfortable with being that go-getter, because especially for women, you have the mindset, let it be unleashed. The world will be surprised at what you're thinking, what you're able to do. But a lot of women are taught to be very demure and to couch that ferocity of spirit, not ferocity of attitude or like how they treat people. Don't get me wrong. You've got to be nice and gracious. I believe that. But ferocity of attitude, that should have no boundaries and that should be unbridled. Thank you very much. And many times they couch it in people pleasing or in being overly nice. And I'm able to see through a lot of it and be like, well, I can tell from what you've done, it's clear that you're thinking that thought, and that's okay. Like, what do you think? and getting people to face themselves and to be like, this is who I am, and sit in feeling comfortable with it. That's some of the work that I do. And that's a lot of the work that I think women have to do. You're a cleaner, just be a cleaner. You're the person you know very well. You run circles around most people. You know exactly what they're thinking and you know exactly how to get it. You're a strategist, but you're coming like asking nice questions and trying to be what you are not. And it's not serving you. And here's the thing I've recognized about people in general. We don't like to be patronized. Many times you are getting pushback from people because they recognize that you are holding back and you are treating them like less. Because for you to be strong and to pretend that you are weak is literally saying that you don't trust the people around you with your strength. How's that playing out for you? You think people don't are not irritated by the fact that you're not being your full self? Why do you think people prefer people who are authentically bad than people who are trying to be good when they're not? And I'm not saying that these are the only extremes, that only the extremes exist. There is a sense when you know who you are, cleaner, closer, or cooler, when you know who you are and you take into consideration love of people, people's feelings, who we are being in any space, you can come to a healthy compromise of every time I show up in my truth, even though I am cognizant and I am mindful and I am that shepherd of other people's feelings and actions. But where people get irritated by cleaners is those ones who try to be what they're not. I want to encourage you today, just be yourself. Just be your full self. It's going to be uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, you will be doing yourself and the people around you more of a service if that authenticity is allowed to be expressed. I hope I'm making sense here today. Let me know. I don't see anybody in the chat today, but that's fine. Most people watch this on replay. I have to do a better job of advertising it. So you can't expect me to be here on a Monday morning, for a couple minutes while we speak. Don't forget, you guys, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Speak with Confidence program. I have a lot to tell you. So we're going to end up like that. Let me just go back to, are you a closer, a cleaner? Are you a cooler, a closer, or a cleaner? Okay. So we had this one, okay, that you don't compete with anyone, okay? And if they're thinking, oh, I don't compete with anybody, I just compete with my best self. Okay. But the cleaner will understand who the opponent is and go straight for the weakness. And that's how people fight. You think your enemies are not fighting you like that? So you're there trying to be nice. Oh, I'm just trying to control myself. Oh yeah, okay, go ahead. And they have analyzed you and they are going after your weaknesses to take you down. So you might as well jump on the train. Let's put it that way. All right. So you know your opponent's weakness and you attack. Isn't that awesome? All right. So when you are a cleaner, here's another one. You make decisions, not suggestions. You know the answer while everyone else is still asking questions. And that one, if you are a cleaner, you have to learn how to handle it because nobody likes to just be told what to do, especially if you're dealing with adults. So you might know the answer already because of your experience, expertise. And I think sometimes you find cleaners being very arrogant because there's this quote that they said about Kobe where he said, like, you know what, when it's like a couple seconds and he's not passing the ball, he's not passing the ball, he's gonna go for it. Okay, same thing with Michael Jordan. So they can take the pressure, they know it, so they feel that there's no need to share. At the end of the day, however, you can be a cleaner and be a leader at the same time. Because many times you find cleaners are not leaders. They can do it for themselves, but there's not that sense of, I've got to create consensus so that everybody can come up with me. So who are you being? Can you take your cleaner instincts and apply to your team, your work environment, the people you manage, even, I don't know, wherever you are, whatever community you find yourself in? How can you still know yourself, know that you are unique, and still help other people to find their full selves. That is a big thing for cleaners. Like, how do I become the person who I know who I am? I know I can do this all by myself. But you know what? It's very true still what they say, that if you want to go far, you need to go together. If you want to go first, then okay, go ahead. Yeah, but then you're just going to peter out because you have no support. Everybody needs support. So when you're a cleaner, you make decisions. Let's go on to the next one. So, how is this landing for you? Where do you find yourself? Listen to this one. I see this all the time in professionals who are cleaners who go for they do extraordinary things. That's why they are who they are. When you are a cleaner, you don't have to love the work, but you're addicted to the results. Is that you? You don't have to love the work. Who cares? And another thing that I always say, you don't even have to love who you work with. Let's just get the job done. Somebody was saying it happens in all different ways. Okay, so here is the subtext for that point of, when you're a cleaner, you don't have to love the work, you're addicted to the results. A cooler, that's the first tier of the winner. A cooler makes you wish you paid him less. A closer asks how much and then decides how hard he will work. A cleaner does not think about the money. He just does the work, and he knows you'll be grateful for the privilege of paying him. Oh my goodness. Can you understand that? What kind of mindset produces a thought like that? Let me say it again. A cooler makes you wish you paid him less. A closer asks how much and then decides how hard he'll work. A cleaner doesn't think about the money, he just does the work and knows you'll be grateful for the privilege of paying him. Why? Not because I'm all that on a bag of chips, but because I understand the value that I'm going to bring you so much that I know, right? You yourself will be grateful despite any instinct that you might have. Is that you? Where do you find yourself? So I'll stop here a little bit, you guys, because I want to talk about the program, the Speak with Confidence program, and we still have some room in the international program. Our one in Canada that begins on the 10th of February, that's almost filled. So there's one or two spots left there. If you are in Edmonton and you want to join the Speak with Confidence cohort that began in October right here and has changed significantly some people's lives, those who were in the program, this is your chance to get in for this cohort. And it's going to be really great. We have such a great group of people who signed up already, right? So let me see. Something's happening here that I'm not seeing the program. Oh, okay. All right. I'm just checking on something here. Let's see. I think this is going. All right. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Okay, you guys. So if you are interested, let me know. This program is really one that I'm proud of, that has produced results for our students. I didn't want to, but maybe I will just open up, some of our graduates and tell you a little bit about them, what they're doing in the world. Now we have podcasters, we have people who've changed jobs, we have people who've got into very high positions in government, in the civil sector, that kind of thing, because your confidence goes up after Speak with Confidence. It's always been that way. It's always been that your confidence goes up after Speak with Confidence. So we're very happy for that. Maybe I won't do that this time around. But you might have seen some of the posts about the program. Why should you join Speak with Confidence? Because great communication is a deal breaker. It's an investment that keeps on going. It gets you places, particularly when it is couched in a situation where you're learning confidence overall, where everybody just catches it in the 6 weeks of the program. It's built on a solid curriculum, and we look at your attitude to the audience, we look at your attitude to speaking, we look at how you can improve your delivery. That's a big pillar that we teach. And what about the content? How are you starting your speeches, your presentations? And in delivery now, there's a whole AI part of it, because I'm telling you, like, from the time I began that program to now, from last year, every single cohort, the pillar on AI changes with the times. I'm telling you, it has changed again. I just did an upgraded AI course to be able to teach this to the students. And even like on the consultations, the things that I teach people, they can use immediately because we no longer need to be working as hard as we used to. Now it's time to work smart when you know what's available to you. We teach you to speak with conviction. We teach you to be able to grab people with how you speak and what you say and when you say it. There's a style function, a style pillar that really goes into what kind of speaker you are. You might not be the most charismatic. You might not be the person who's most fluent, but neither was this guy. What's his name? Malcolm Gladwell. Have you heard Malcolm Gladwell speak? Boring. But the man speaks and people listen. Why? Because there are different ways to skin a cat. And when you're not trying to be anybody but the best version of yourself, okay? This in that case, you don't need to be a cleaner and go after the enemy. There's no enemy in speaking. In fact, if you approach speaking as if the people you're speaking to are your enemies, you're gonna have a chip on your shoulder. You're gonna be defensive. You're gonna say things with an edge to them, which will not be wholesome and not be well received. So we deal with all of these things in the Speak with Confidence program. I'm very happy to offer this both virtually and in person. The virtual program has always included one-on-one coaching. The in-person program doesn't include it because I see people for 2 hours once a week. And you don't just learn then. A lot of speaking, my basic philosophy is that the best way to learn public speaking is to public speak. You've got to get out there. So we encourage you to get out there. We give you prompts, we give you challenges all week between the teaching sessions. You are practicing speaking. So what happens is by the end of the 6 weeks together, you are stretched. That muscle is built. It's refined. You can lift heavier. So we've had speakers who go on to do lives, they build their businesses, they recognize the value of communication in their business, in their professional lives, even in their personal lives. So it's a great program to have. And so let me just put in, we're going to end shortly. Yeah, it's time for me to get out of here. So if you are interested, the best way is to DM me if you're listening to this. It's time to solve for this. You know, I did a consult with a lady. She was in the United States. I'm in Canada right now. She was in the United States, an immigrant from, I forgot what country. Anywho, she got a great job, and that's most people. She got a great job, okay? And part of this was speaking, presenting. This lady was so scared to get out there that she would call in sick, okay? Call in sick instead of taking the leap and starting that process of speaking, doing what she was supposed to for the job. So she began to lose opportunities for speaking. She began to not be called upon. When you stand to speak, people are able to see who you are. And I know that might be scary, except that in Speak with Confidence, you learn to be okay with yourself, okay with who you're supposed to be, how you look, how you put together your height, your size, your everything. You learn to be comfortable with yourself, because I think the basic philosophy is that that's what you have. So it has to be good. To be anybody else is to be a living suicide, and we're going to live. We're going to stay in the land of the living. So you're going to live, and you're going to get up, and you're going to speak, and you're going to do your best, because they say that public speaking is the number one fear. It is true. So that tells you, if you have the courage to stand up and speak and address yourself, you are admired. And we're not doing it for admiration, but it's just to know that all these people who you think are judging you are themselves afraid sometimes to stand up and speak. And you are worried about them when you are doing a good thing. And it's not only that. Last thing that I say, and from day one, your mindset begins to shift. You know why? Because many of the reasons that people are self-conscious and nervous about speaking have to do with the fact that they are more focused on themselves than on what they're supposed to be focused upon. Why am I here? Why am I here this morning? Yes, I'm connecting with my potential clients and so on, but I've made a promise to give value. People reach out to me after this, after I do lives, and tell me how impactful it has been. I recognize if I want to pursue this life that I've chosen, I've got to show up. So I'm here to give impact. I'm not here just to say, hey, look at me. No, I'm here to give impact. When you're done here, all day long, you should be thinking, am I a cooler? Am I a closer, or am I a cleaner? What can I do? Maybe I'm in the wrong circles. Maybe I'll reach out to Lisa Dublin and be like, hey, I think I'm ready for either speak with confidence or coaching because I don't recognize myself and I don't want to be this person. Or how is it you said that there are more like me? Where are they? Can I meet them? And I'll be like, yes, come on in. Okay. So I've got a purpose. Most people, they don't like speaking because they focus on themselves. What will people say about me? Who cares? Go and give your message. They will speak anyway. And I know that, I'm saying this and people are like, well, Lisa, you've had more than 25 years in the field, which I have. But here's the thing. If you don't start, you're never going to get to that point of being comfortable with facing people. If you remember that there is a reason for speaking, you are more likely to do it. Can I share with you some of the traditional and now the new ways I've discovered why people speak? Are you ready? When you stand to speak and to do public speaking, you're either going to be informing people of something, think of work, think of what I'm doing here, bringing new information to you, or you're going to be motivating or persuading them. That's one, motivating or persuading them to do something. You're going to be also, so we have you're going to give information, you're going to persuade, you're going to motivate, that will make them separate. Then you also, entertainment is another way that people come out to speak. Think of the stand-up comedians. Think of those people who make you laugh and make you think at the same time, like Trevor Noah, like any of the late night hosts who poke fun. Yes. Dave Chappelle is another. Oh, geez, that guy grates, right? He makes you laugh and then he just pulls it back with how he makes you think. But that is one of the reasons that people public speak and present themselves to entertain. So you're going to inform, you're going to motivate people to do something, to be something, to inspire them. So it's motivation and inspiration. My apologies. Then there's persuasion. Politicians do that all day, whole day. Why are they out there? To persuade you to their point of view, their party, their policies, their way of seeing and doing. Okay. And then, of course, you have entertainment. And I was saying to the last two classes, cohorts of Speak with Confidence, there is another reason with the advent of digital technology and social media and the rise of like the celebrity everyday person. There is another reason that people present themselves. And let me tell me what you think about that. Y'all see, I can speak about speaking all day, whole day. Not only am I a speaker, I love analyzing speeches and seeing people stand and deliver. Like it's beautiful for me. Okay. The other reason that some people public speak, appear and do their thing in public is just to be known. And hear me clearly, everybody who has like an online business or is in business, part of your business and part of your responsibility, unless you have a faceless business where it's really private, and I know lots of people who have that as well, you don't even know that the business belongs to them because in other parts of their life they are so controversial. Some people just need and want to be known. I was coaching one of my more well-known clients, and when I was presenting this information, she said like, I don't speak to inform anybody, to motivate. Well, maybe a little bit of motivation, but that's not my primary goal for speaking. When I speak, it's usually because people just want to know me. And that is when I realized, depending on who you are, the reason you speak is going to be different. And you've got to be okay with it. Sometimes it's just about being known. It's just about showing up and letting people see you in real life as opposed to how they see you maybe on television, in social media, whatever. That speaking to be known, if taken seriously, even if you're not a high performing, you're not like a high profile person, that if you take that seriously, then you who are an entrepreneur, for example, with an online business, you will take advantage of that mission, of that reason, and just show up. Go live. Go live. Let people know who you are. That is such an easy way to let people know what you're selling and who you're about. Because the fact is, and I'm going to stop after this one, if people know you and like you and trust you, they are more likely to buy from you. That is the formula that every business person knows or should know by now. In marketing, know plus like plus trust equals buy. And one way to get people to buy into what you want. And it shouldn't just be you come out to just be known to get, no. Please build relationships. Like most of the people who I do like one-on-one consultations with, most people, maybe it's a little more now, but a lot of people don't buy. But guess what? I have built a bridge. I've gotten to know another human being and they've gotten to know me. There have been people who bought Speak with Confidence after 2 years, after doing the consultation 2 years. And you cannot afford, you've got to have that clean mindset of I'm building bridges, I'm getting to know people, I'm spreading the message that speaking is something to be aware of, at least for me. Be aware of it. Be aware that you don't have to hide anymore. Help is here. Okay. So I'll end here. I could go on, but I'll leave that for the course. So there's something about loving what you teach. That's how I remember I fell in love with literature because was it my A level? Both of them were my good. I had the best teachers, both in high school and at college. I had lecturers who loved literature and they passed that on to us. When somebody loves what they do, you pick up on that. The way they teach it is different. And I teach it from a place of love, understanding, and just like you get a fist of excitement just being in the class. And it's something I won't change either online or in person. So I hope you join me in Speak with Confidence. I'll put the link there. DM me. We have just a couple spots. We're about to kick off. If you can make that commitment, if you're going to be juggling a lot of things, wait for the next cohort, honestly, because I need your full attention. I need you to, I'll make it easy for you. It's a program that is, it's not, it's a program that's easy to, if you are focused, you will get through the 6 weeks. There's a lot of help, a lot of camaraderie. You get into a cohort and you become friends for life a lot of the times. And there's support during and even after. So you'll be in very good hands and, get to work one-on-one with me as well. So thank you for being here. Don't forget, put this in your calendar, you guys. Put the link, put a little reminder in your calendar that Lisa will be live every Monday, 6 o'clock, 6 to about 7 o'clock, thereabout, so that you can join me every Monday. I'm on Instagram a lot more. That one is just random whenever I have time in between coaching sessions. So you can just follow me on Instagram, my same name, Lisa M. Dublin, and we'll have a good time over there as well. So see, you have a great day. And remember to answer the question, are you a cooler? Are you a closer? Or are